it looks like I'm wearing the same outfit as I was in the tie-dye video. It's because I am. Yep, 2 vids, 1 day. I'll tell you why. It's because the Twitter timeline was popping off. It was going crazy. They were bringing back tweets from everybody's black British faves. And I was like, oh, from like 2013, from like 2011 to 2014, you know, a lot of people were posting some negative things, especially really colorist and internally racist statements on Twitter, essentially. And I'm here to talk about it. Your colorism genius. I'm kidding. I could definitely talk about colorism and internalized racism for weeks. I could write essays upon essay. Actually, I have. Because I just think it's, honestly, I think once people are able to fully recognize colorism, featureism, and hair type discrimination within their own ethnic groups, they start to realize where a lot of issues lie in the grand scheme of things, especially living in the West, because obviously there will still be colorism in our people of color's countries of origin, but it's a very different kind to the one that we have in the West, where obviously up until recently, and I think still for some people, you don't have a lot of people of color that you feel you can necessarily look to in the limelight. If not now, then at least when some of us were younger, for sure. So I'm not entirely sure what happened. I believe this started like last night, but from what I saw, the first thing that was on my timeline was something about some guy called Marquezette, essentially expressing dislike towards black women, calling them apes, being really disrespectful. He is black himself. And I think his partner is actually white, and his partner's family also, no, his partner also had tweets about black people, and apparently his partner's family actually didn't want them to be together because he was a black man. So irony. So I think it started with him, and then it rolled over into loads of different people. Ivorian Doll, Tion Wayne, Nella Rose, Mr. 200 Meters, Heady One, Western, Nines, Aloni, some members of NSG, like loads of their old tweets just started resurfacing of them essentially being really derogatory to their own race, especially dark-skinned people. And I mean, a lot of these tweets were from 2011 to 2014. I'm definitely not excusing any of it, because I think it's just bad. I mean, colorism is literally one of the biggest things in the black community, but also in other people of color's communities, that like is a massive issue, but no one ever truly talks about it because no one's actually sure what it really is until they've done proper research. But there aren't enough people who've done that proper research, and there aren't enough people being made aware of what colorism is and the effect it has on communities and has had on communities. What I want to say is, like, we need to think about things in the grand scheme of things. And the fact of the matter is, and I think this all the time, but I don't say it out loud, and the same goes for loads of different races as well. I know for a fact that it really wasn't cool to be black until recently, and it really wasn't very cool to be African in the West until very recently, specifically the UK and the US, because they've obviously got very large populations of black people there, and other people of color too. I know for a fact that in 2012, no one was saying out loud, yeah, I like Afrobeat, I do African dance, I listen to African music. People were literally hiding where they came from. If you ask a lot of black people where they were from in that time and before that, they would tell you, I'm British. Yeah, but where are your origins? Like, a lot of people weren't ready to talk about that. And I think the same goes for all these influencers, YouTubers, people in the public eye, if you will. It happens a lot, just to be clear. This resurfacing is not the same as when people of other races essentially have racist tweets pulled up about them. It's a very different thing, and the two cannot really be compared because they don't actually have the same roots or the same meanings. So if your favorite white YouTuber has had tweets resurface about their hatred towards Asian people, it really isn't the same as when your favorite black YouTuber has tweets resurface and they show a very discriminatory view towards dark-skinned people of their own race, because it's not the same thing, and I don't think I have to explain that in depth. So what I will say is, I know that it wasn't cool to be African, because during that time when all these tweets were coming out, I was in Ireland. The black population in Ireland has grown significantly since then, but I tell you, when I was growing up, especially in the town that I lived in, there really weren't many black people. And when I moved here, I mean, it was never a big thing for me to like be African, although I will say, and I think every person of color goes through this at some point. I really don't think, like, I hope that in the future people don't have to, but I think in our generation especially, when you're a lot younger, growing up out in the West, in the diaspora, outside of your countries of origin, sometimes you tend to get a bit lost. The problem at hand is that you don't have like loads of role models like you that you can look up to, for me personally anyway. And I'm glad now I moved to the UK post 2016. I was starting to grow a lot more as a person and develop, and I was thinking very differently, and now I'm super proud to be African. I'm super proud of where my origins lie, but there were things that I know I did and said in 2015 that I wasn't proud of, and a lot of it was trying to fit in because I didn't necessarily believe those things, but then I never spoke out, so I'm almost as bad as the problem anyway. The kind of things that were being tweeted, I would definitely hear people say that kind of stuff with their own mouth in school. Like, it was totally normal as well, and no one ever said anything against it. If you had a slither of a little African twang in your accent, you were a freshie. And I don't know why we thought of being a freshie as a bad thing. I guess because the connotation is that you essentially don't know anything. But as an African, you know that other Africans, they're not just stupid people. The same thing goes for Asians. When someone has just moved from whichever Asian country, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't know anything. So I don't know why we acted like having moved from your country of origin a lot more recently was a bad thing. So my camera cut out because my SD card was full, but it's okay, I've just emptied it. When you got less melanated people, I want to say, at the limelight, this is in reference to colorism, not racism. When you got less melanated people in the limelight and being very successful, obviously that's all you can look up to. You start to wonder if maybe that's what the ideal is, when in actual fact you're fine as you are, obviously. That can really plague people's minds, and obviously when you're young and you hop on social media, you say stuff sometimes you don't mean, and people forget all the time that the internet is forever. I mean, obviously I have the belief that you can, like, if people were quick enough to remember that they tweeted those things and delete them, people probably wouldn't have found them. But here's the thing, the reason why all these people didn't remember that they had tweeted those things when they were, I don't even know what age, but in like 2011, from 2011 to 2014, was because that's obviously not their mindset anymore, and so they don't remember having thought like that. And I get it, like, I don't think, for me personally, I might be taking a biased view towards myself, but I don't think I ever gave off like actual anti-blackness. But I'm self-aware enough to remember that I did do those things, and I definitely feel remorse for them, and I can acknowledge now that I definitely love everything to do with my African heritage. But obviously that was a much shorter time ago for me than it was for these people who are now like in their early 20s, and they were in like their early teens-ish when they posted those kinds of things. And obviously, so yeah, their mindsets aren't the same. I'm definitely not excusing what anyone said. Everyone is like apologizing for the things they said. Some people are like, I stand by it. Some people are like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or say that I was young when I posted this. I said what I said, and I'm sorry that I offended people. And that's it, I guess. I mean, you know, cancel them if you want to. They might be canceled. I don't think they will, just for the fact that Black Brits don't really have enough people to look toward that are in like the forefront. People like Nella Rose and members of NSG, like there aren't any other Nella Roses, so I can't see them being cancelled for saying those things, but I can see, hopefully, more conversations going on. This is a chance for us to think about it in communities of people of color, how prevalent colorism and internalized racism are, because people often forget. And ever since doing a deep dive into colorism, I can see it everywhere now. Thankfully though, a lot of the people who is like in this list of just names that have essentially said horrible things about their own race and about people of darker complexions, the good thing about them is the vast majority of them are very pro-Black today, and a lot of them who were African own their Africanness. And I'm just glad now that I mean, I hate to say it, but it is kind of cool to be African now. Overall, you know, it happened. It's on Twitter. I'm definitely not excusing anyone. It's more than just colorism. It is a lot deeper rooted than that, and it's got a lot to do with self-esteem. Love yourselves, love your origins, wherever they may be from, and be proud of who you are and where you come from. That's the vid. That's all I have to say. I just wanted to comment on that because I felt like I could say loads about it. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.